Hey guys, it's Alex. I wanted to do a quick video for you on the 3 C's to getting your first purchase contract signed, or just in general getting purchase contracts signed in your business, in the real estate wholesaling business. Now, before I get started, I wanted to first say hello to all the new people in the group and wanted to just let you know, if you are in wholesaling houses full time, you are in my group. This is my group that I started about, I think it's been about 8 years that this group has been in existence for. And it's a great place to talk. It's a great place to share real estate information. And it's a great place to just get information in general about wholesaling houses. So we're going to get started soon. I'm going to be talking about the 3 C's to getting your first real estate contract, or in learning how to negotiate or get a contract in general. Because a lot of you might be going into a house and you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do when it comes to talking to the seller, whether you're walking around the house, whether you're like, okay, here's my contract, sign here, whatever it is. But this little 3-step process is going to give you some great information when it comes to knowing what to do with the seller, knowing how to talk to the seller, and understanding that conflict is a good thing. Conflict means that you are getting to where you want to go, right? Because if somebody is just shaking their head at you and saying yes all the way, they are in a process of just telling you what you want to hear to get you out of the house, right? So remember that, okay? So let's talk about the 3 C's when it comes to getting your contract. Somebody in the group said C3P0 method, and I like it. I love it actually, because that's the 3 C's equals purchase offer, right? So the first C is communication. The first C is communication, okay? What that means is you need to be able to communicate in an effective way with the seller. Now, a lot of that breaks into building rapport with the seller, and there's a lot of different processes with that. But this first video, what I want to talk about with communication, is something that's critical, not only to dealing with motivated sellers, but dealing with people in general. And for those of you that are married, dealing with your spouse. This is very, very important, okay? And this is something I heard the other day. It was from actually a local preacher in my area who was talking about how to develop relationships and how to work with relationships in an effective method. So here it is, okay? So communication. A lot of people think communication has to deal with people just clearly explaining to you what they want in a clear and precise method, okay? If you have thought that in the past about communication, when you think about a great communicator, what are some of the things that come to mind? Now, I've got some of you on the line here. If you've got a second, type in what you think a good communicator is. Also, give me some thumbs up if you're here with me, so other people will know this is maybe something that they want to jump in on and talk about. But what do you say a good communicator is? Just in general, what makes a good communicator? I see some of you that are on here and typing. Okay, so a good communicator is not somebody that clearly communicates what they want to get across and what they intend to say. That's not a good communicator. And especially in a marriage situation, right? That is just somebody who is saying what they want to say and trying to make it known what they want to say. You ever been in a situation where, whether you were in a relationship or even in a marriage situation, where one spouse or the other is feeling like you're not connecting in your communication, right? And let's say the husband's like, I'm as very clear as I possibly can, and this is what I mean. This is what I mean, and this is what I want you to hear. Right? But meanwhile, the wife is saying, well, I don't feel that that's what you meant to say. I don't feel that that is what you really mean, right? So it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because one person feels that the communication from the one side is not meant to intend something, when the other side of the equation says, this is what I meant to say, okay? So here's the thing. Effective communication, remember this is the first C of the C3P0 system when getting contracts with sellers, right? Effective communication is what you are saying is crafted in such a way that relates to the way to the person receives it, right? So that means if you know that your spouse receives information in a certain way and internalizes it as their truth, that you need to communicate in a way that is coherent with that, that's cohesive with that, that gels with that. That's when effective communication comes into play. Does that make sense? So if I know that you think, I'm trying to think of a good example of a way to put this to you, right? Because let's put it in the motivated seller fashion, right? It's very important to build rapport with the seller, because you need to know the way that seller thinks. And not just anything about real estate, but thinks about things in general. You need to know the way that seller thinks in general, so that way you can relate it back to real estate and the way they think about their property, or so that way when you talk to them and you communicate, you can talk in a way that internalizes to them what you're trying to say, but they also line up with that same perception. It needs to be connected at the same time, right? Oh, look, there's a C and there's a C, right? The C's need to connect to each other in order for that to work, right? Because if you are trying to communicate something in a way that you intend something, but it's not being received in a way that you intended it to be received, you failed at communication. And when that happens, that's when the arms start to cross, right? The seller's arms cross. That's when they get defensive. That's when the walls go up, so to speak. And that's when communication breaks down. And that also happens in a marriage, right? If what you're saying is being received in a completely different way, even though you intended it to be meant in a certain way, the arms are going to cross, the walls are going to go up, and communication stops, and it's not effective. And especially when we're dealing with sellers in a way that we're dealing with something that's very important. Selling a property is one of the biggest decisions somebody will ever make. And when you're dealing with sellers and communicating, it needs to be clean and effective and done in a way where it relates to them the way they think the truth is meant to them, or else you're just going to create a wall that goes up, and ineffective communication, okay? That is the first C, communication. In the next videos, I'll talk about the other C's. One of them is conflict. Communication, conflict. And I'll give you a quick preview of that. Conflict is important in the process of when we're presenting to a seller, because that means they are following you along the way, and that they have their own thoughts about the situation, and they're presenting objections because they really care. Let me give you a tip. When you're dealing with a salesperson and you're working with them, and or let's say you're at a car lot and they're selling you, right? The quickest way to get rid of that person is to be 100% compliant and listen to what they have to say and agree all the way. Yes, that's great. Yes, that's great. And then give the impression that you potentially want to buy the car, and you're going to make a decision tomorrow, and you're going to get back with them, and you're really interested. And you know what? They will leave you alone. You know why? Because they think they've done their job. They think it's working. They think they're being able to communicate with you. but in essence, you're the one that's playing them. So objections or conflict is a good thing. And the third C is control. So once these two things work together, right? Communication, conflict, and control, that's when you get to the point when you get a contract. So we'll talk about objections the next time. And if you appreciate this video, give it a big thumbs up. And also, if you are looking for more information about real estate, or if you are even looking for a chance to work one-on-one with me, and you want me to work in your market with you, you can go to flipwithalex.com. That's flipwithalex.com. You fill out a quick application, and we'll talk to you and see if there's something we can help you with. But remember, this is Wholesaling Houses full-time. This is my group, Alex Youngblood, for all the new people that don't know. And I appreciate if you were to comment on this video, if you have questions about the 3 C's, the C3P0 method, or if you have any helpful information that you want to give, feel free to do it. And I look forward to seeing you guys later.